In a small village nestled between rolling hills and vast savannas, the people lived under the rule of Chief Ogumo, a man known for his love of wealth. He controlled the village's granary, where he stored not just food but also gold collected from traders passing through. The villagers worked hard, but no matter how much they toiled, they remained poor, while the chief and his council lived in luxury. One dry season, when hunger crept into every home, a cunning thief named Kagwe hatched a plan. He gathered his 3 companions, Tatu, Chui, and Kobe, and said, "Tonight, we take what belongs to the land. The grains in the granary are the wealth of the people, yet only one man hoards them." Under the cover of darkness, the 4 thieves sneaked to the chief's storehouse. Before they entered, Kagwe raised his voice and said, "Remember, we are not here to destroy. We take only what is needed." As they sneaked inside, Kobe, who was slow but clever, tripped over a sack of cowrie shells. Tatu laughed and said, "You are too slow for this job." Kobe replied calmly, "Slow feet do not mean a slow mind." He pointed to a hidden compartment beneath the sacks. When they pried it open, they found bars of gold hidden beneath the chief's grains. As they filled their sacks, Chui, who had keen ears, heard footsteps approaching. "We must leave now," he whispered. Kagwe replied, "Let the people tell us how much we have taken." Instead of wasting time counting, they carried their loot and vanished into the night. The next morning, the village awoke to chaos. Chief Ogumo's men counted the loss and declared that 50 bags of grain and 10 bars of gold had been stolen. The chief, furious but cunning, turned to his council and said, "We cannot appear weak. Let us tell the people that 100 bags of grain and 20 bars of gold were stolen. Then we take the extra wealth for ourselves." The villagers, unaware of the truth, wept for their lost fortune while the chief and his council laughed behind closed doors. Meanwhile, in the hideouts, Kagwe and his friends counted their stolen goods. "We risked our lives, yet we only have half of what they claim was lost," Tatu grumbled. Kagwe chuckled, shaking his head. "That, my friend, is why the greatest thieves do not need to steal in the night. The richest robbers sit on thrones." And so the cunning thief and his friends shared their stolen food with the hungry villagers, while Chief Ogumo grew fat off his lies. But the villagers never forgot what they learned. Sometimes the thief in the night is kinder than the thief in power. The hands that hoard wealth do not always do so in darkness. The greatest thieves often sit where the people bow. Months passed, and though the villagers had eaten well from Kagwe heist, Chief Ogumo continued to grow richer. He built a taller fence around his compound, hired more guards, and imposed new taxes on the people. One evening, as the sun bled into the horizon, Kagwe gathered his friends beneath the great baobab tree. "The chief has learned nothing," he said. "He steals from the people and blames others for his own greed. It is time we teach him a lesson he will never forget." Tatu, ever impatient, twitched his ears. "Another robbery?" "No," Kagwe replied, his yellow eyes gleaming. "A trick greater than any theft." The next day, the 4 thieves disguised themselves as traders from a faraway land. They covered Kobe with a golden cloth, and Chui carried a small chest filled with worthless stones, covered in a thin layer of gold dust. They approached Chief Ogumo's palace, where his guards blocked the way. "Tell your master that the richest traders in the land have come with an offer of great wealth," Kagwe announced. Curious, the chief ordered them to enter. Inside the palace, Kagwe bowed low. "Great Chief Ogumo, we have heard of your wisdom and power. We bring a treasure that only a ruler as mighty as you can possess, the golden egg of the sun." Chief Ogumo's eyes widened with greed. "Show me this treasure." Chui opened the small chest, revealing the golden stones. Kagwe leaned in and whispered, "This is no ordinary gold. It grows. Bury it, and in 1 month it will multiply 100 times. But it can only work for a man of great power, one who has never taken from his people unjustly." The chief, blinded by his greed, did not hesitate. "Name your price." "We ask for only 10 bars of gold, chief," Tatu said slyly. a small price for endless riches. Without thinking, the chief ordered his servants to bring the gold. He did not want his council to know, so he dismissed them and handed the gold to Kagwe and his friends in secret. That night, the chief buried the fake golden stones in his courtyard and waited. He imagined himself becoming the wealthiest man in all the kingdoms, richer than even the spirits of the mountains. Days passed, then weeks, but nothing grew. Meanwhile, Kagwe and his friends had disappeared, sharing the chief's gold with the villagers. After a month, the chief dug up his treasure and found nothing but dirt. Furious, he called his council. "I have been tricked! Find those traitors and bring them to me." But the villagers only laughed. "You, our wise chief, who boasts of knowing all things, were fooled by mere strangers." Humiliated, Chief Ogumo could not admit his mistake. He sat in silence as the village erupted in laughter. He had robbed his people for years, but in the end, it was his own greed that robbed him. And so, Kagwe and his friends disappeared into legend, known forever as the tricksters who outwitted the mightiest thief of all. Seasons passed, and the village flourished under the quiet generosity of Kagwe and his friends. The stolen gold had been shared wisely among the people, allowing them to rebuild their lives. But Chief Ogumo had grown more bitter and paranoid, humiliated by his foolishness. He no longer trusted his own council and spent his days locked in his palace, plotting revenge. One night, under a sky heavy with stars, Ogumo's most trusted warrior, Baraza, stood before the chief. "My lord, I have searched far and wide. The thief and his gang hide deep in the sacred forest. If you give the order, I will capture them for you." The chief's face darkened with a wicked smile. "No, we will not capture them. We will burn the forest and let them perish in the flames." The next morning, warriors carrying torches marched toward the sacred hideout in the forest. But Kagwe, ever watchful, saw them coming. He knew the chief's mind had turned to madness. "We cannot fight them," said Kobe. "They are too many." "Then we shall not fight," Kagwe said. "We shall welcome them instead." The thieves worked quickly, digging a deep trench around the entrance of the forest, covering it with grass and loose branches. Then they hid among the trees, waiting. When the chief's warriors arrived, Baraza lifted his torch. "Burn it all," he commanded. But as the warriors stepped forward, the ground beneath them gave way. They tumbled into the trench, dropping their torches in surprise. Before they could climb out, Kagwe and his friends rolled large boulders over the edges, trapping them inside. From the trees, Kagwe called out, "Tell your master that a greedy man's hunger will always be his downfall." When the trapped warriors returned to the palace, the people of the village had already heard what had happened. That was how the greedy chief was completely defeated and humiliated by the thieves, and his secrets was exposed to the whole community.